Hello and welcome to part 2 of my Kia app tips and tricks. Part 1 is on the link above. Lots of feedback from the first episode, so I've added all those answers and questions to this episode as well. So I'll start with the basics. Once you've first installed the Kia app, if you're in the UK, you'll want to swap it from kilometers to miles. So the way to do that is just press little person in the top right, and that's the profile button. Scroll down to settings. On mine it's actually set to miles, yards already, but as you know, I've mentioned before, on the Android version it keeps on switching back randomly during the day to kilometers. Now if I switch it back to meters, kilometers again, and come back out and then go back in and switch back to miles, it will then start displaying in miles for a short period. As you can see on the screen. Also notice the mileage, the odometer, that is also slightly out on the Android version. All of these bugs don't exist on the Apple version. God knows why. They've been trying to fix it for version after version after version. On the home screen, you can change all of those remote buttons, but there is also what's called a force mode. So one button does both start aircon and stop aircon, and one button does lock doors and unlock doors, and one button does multiple window functions. Normally if you press the button for 1 second, you'll see the animation, and once it goes green all the way around, then it will send the command. So you can't accidentally send it. So in force mode, if I press and hold climate control for say 5 seconds, it exposes both buttons. So turn on climate control, turn off climate control. And the same for doors. And there you go, unlock doors, unlock doors. If it gets its fingers in a knot and it doesn't know whether the car's open or shut, then you can use this to tell it exactly what to do. So I'm going to lock it now. You can also do the same with the charging button and the Windows button. So I'm going to press and hold Windows. That's your 1 second gone. And then 5 seconds, it exposes open windows and close windows. If you go into the control area and scroll down, you see you've got low, set the lowest climate control, and smart climate 22. Those temperatures seem to vary during the day depending on what the outside temperature is. I've seen them preset to 24 on their own. But if I press low, it's going to set the aircon running at the lowest setting in the car. And if I set the smart climate 22, it's going to warm the car up. So that's obviously something you use in winter. And if you are running one of those, so for example, I'll set to lowest, press and hold it. Seat ventilation on, yeah, so that's set it. And then if you look at the car, you see the spinning fan icon, so it shows it's running. And also you've got like a pulsating blue line around the car. That also appears on the widget, but it's not animated. I think it just stays blue all the time. For example, there you go, it's just totally blue. To stop the climate, this is like a unified single button thing, just like on the first screen. So press that for 1 second and that will stop the climate. And you'll get a confirmation. As for where the climate settings are, you can preset them. I've preset mine to 17, and I've got the seats ventilation turned on, ventilate all seats, and that's saved. But unfortunately, when you get logged out, the settings seem to go quite often. So I wish they'd sort that. And you can save them there for what it's worth. Right, I was asked how you change the vehicle. Well, normally when you open the app, you get the remote control on the first home screen. But if you close that down, behind it, you've got vehicle change. And that is where you manage your other vehicles. If you're already managing multiple vehicles on the Kia Connect, it should just bring the settings across. I mean, my wife is a co-user, and that was just brought across. So in theory, that should just come across from old Kia Connect. And this is where you register vehicles and look at my vehicles and look at shared vehicles and all of that. So that answers that question. And the shared vehicle settings. Next question, where have all my detailed driving reports gone? Well, they're under the vehicle tab. But you have to scroll down to my trips. Skip the driving insight. And your recent driving history is there, and that is driving record for August. Those are your averages and your average speeds, top speeds. So it's just like it was on Kia Connect. And you can also download and export them by this button at the top. Save them in multiple formats. Some people have reported it doesn't work for them, but it works for me, and I've even emailed them back to myself as a spreadsheet, so that's doable. And remember, you only get 3 months of stored data on this, like you did on Kia Connect. Right. There are some remote control button inconsistencies, because if you go under control, you can also do this forced mode by pressing and holding for 5 seconds. So for the climate control, there you go. For the door lock-in, there you go. If you just press the window one straight away, you've got multiple things. You can open windows and ventilate from there and turn on hazards and turn hazard warning lights off. The horn and lights, I don't think you can turn them off. They just stop after a short time, maybe a minute or something. But if I press and hold the Windows one, I don't think you get all the force commands like you do on the other thing. So I don't think it even does the same color. So that's your 5 seconds. No, that's offering open windows and ventilate. So those two on the right don't work the same way as the ones on the home button. And the ventilate button just ventilates the windows and doesn't close, as far as I know. So if I press and hold that for 1 second. Ventilate just opens all 4 windows, a little bit of maybe an inch, a few centimeters, just to let the air in. And that's currently processing that. It pulsates whilst it's waiting for the command to be executed. That's done it. And now you can see on the car icon, you've got all 4 windows flashing in that kind of turquoisey, greeny, blue color, or whatever it is. So that's how you know you've got them open. So if I was to press, then it offers you close windows from there. So I can close the windows from there by pressing and holding for a second. Right. If I go to the Android widgets, the buttons work completely differently to the rest of the app. If you press and hold it, you'll find that the app moves around. So if I want to turn on climate, for example, it tries to go into remove widget mode. So the key to this is to just tap it slightly once, and then it confirms it with remote control sense. And the same go for the lock. It says you've got to wait you've got to wait for the previous command. So press lock, door's locked. And these are single commands, so you've got to go to the main app to turn all these features off. I don't think you can change them from the widgets. So if I press turn on climate control, it's just going to try turning it on again. So turning off climate control, as you can see, it's running and the fan's spinning. And that's cancelled. Oh, and I mentioned there's no 1 second delay on widgets. It's just immediate. You hit the button and it doesn't show you've hit it, and it just does it. Someone in the last episode asked a question about driving scores, which can be used to measure your driving score and can be passed on if you volunteer it to insurance companies to get cheaper insurance in theory. If you have 2 drivers in the car, does it use 1 score? And I think it does use 1 score. And someone else also spotted that there's lots of braking going on. And I think it could be that because we're using regen, it thinks we're braking a lot. So I don't think the driving score is in tune with being on an EV. So I don't think they're actually worth much or much use to us at all at the moment. Anyway, that's all the tips I got for this episode. If you've got any questions about anything, just hit me up in the comments and I'll try and answer the question. Thank you for watching.